How I moved to Georgia in 2020 without ever being here. Hello, everyone. My name is Samuela Davidova. I am living in Georgia since 2020. You could see me at several conferences as Liberant representative. I organize a lot of events around the world as well. You could see me at Deutsche Welle, at the Nomad Capitalist Live Like a King in Belgrade, or on the conference Nomad Capitalist Life as well. And I'm traveling the world, but I'm based in Georgia, and I wanted to share today a little story about how I moved in. It was quite crazy, but I was thinking that it would be maybe a bit interesting for you because I'm a European with Czech passport and I have never been here before, and so it was quite courageous. But today I want to share a little story with you. So I learned about Georgia maybe some 10 years ago when I was learning Russian myself. And back then I bought a book about post-Soviet countries and overall Soviet Union and history and all these things. And there I read about Georgia and I was like, wow, it sounds like Switzerland but kind of cheaper and with some seaside and without the boring people. I don't want to be offending anyone here, but maybe I didn't find myself much entertained in Switzerland. Anyway, so I somehow kept the idea that, well, one day I could maybe move to Georgia and work remotely from here, and also having access to the seaside. I was born without any seaside nearby, and so I was thinking that that's the best thing I can have. And and in 2020, when COVID hit, right, I was still traveling. I went to Madrid, I went to Rome a few times, and then I went to South France, and it was in September. I was like, well, I don't really know whether I want to stay in Czechia, but the conditions were changing every day. It was so terrible, like what you can do, where you can go, where you cannot go, what do you need for it, and so on. And I was just so exhausted from it. It was just terrible. Back then, I worked at a PR agency, and we were making communication for a shopping center, and it was just terrible because the conditions were changing every other day. And then I knew that it doesn't really create any value to inform people every day about, what changed. And so I was finding it a bit exhausting. And when I was in France in September, they just changed. I was supposed to join university, the master studies of IT management and cybersecurity with AI as the second specialization, and they just changed the entry date. And I was like, oh my god. I stayed in France a week longer and I came back. I was walking the city in Prague, and there was a curfew. We had to go to homes after 10 p.m. or so. It was like, oh my god, what am I doing here? Why I wouldn't move to Georgia? And it literally came from out of nowhere. And I called my mom. I was like, I think I will move out. And she was like, what? Okay. And I decided that if I won't change my mind during the weekend, I will just move out. And I made a little research, which was basically consisting back then from how to get to Georgia, because in 2020 it was just closed. There were digital nomad visa though, besides of it, you just could not enter Georgia as a foreigner. And so I was like, okay, let's go. And so I applied, and I was accepted. And I had to stay in the quarantine for 10 days in a hotel. I had to pay myself. I was like, it was quite a lot of money for me back then. I couldn't afford much, but it was fine. And I bought my first suitcase back then, and I packed, and I left. I gave notice from the flat, and I was going through the health insurance and social insurance, and I wanted to cancel my entrepreneurial status in Czechia, but what I found out was that which is really funny. So I could not cancel it. I could just stop it temporarily. So I stopped it in 2099. I hope it will be enough. It's crazy, right? And yeah, and I took a one-way ticket to a country where I've never been before, and it was, I think, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. It was really cool. I was very happy about it. It was very silent back then because, well, people also were not walking much outside. But I was living in a cozy area at Vera, which is very convenient. If you know Georgia, it's close to Stamba. And I was walking outside a lot. I was running, and then I started going to the gym. And things were changing like once a month only, and it was 1 month before it was announced, so I knew what to expect. And despite I knew that I can move out, like I felt just okay. It was funny because I remember that was November and December 2020, and then in February 2021 I went to Batumi, and there was no one. There were 2 restaurants on Vault where you could schedule the order, and one of those they were like healthy food, and it was good, but I ate the same thing for a month. This is nothing. It was crazy. And when I compare that with Batumi 2026, this is incredible because the city changed so much. But Tbilisi changed so much as well. And there are a lot of foreigners today. And there were foreigners, just you wouldn't really meet them because everyone was basically sitting home. It was convenient for me during the remote, COVID kind of times. But now it's different and it's really nice. It's very social and there are a lot of different activities you might not even know. So despite I had some kind of swings, I was traveling a lot outside of Georgia. I was coming back. I decided this to be my base. I think today in 2026 it's really a nice place for life. I feel very safe here as a woman. I feel safe here to walk here alone and stuff. And that's sort of a baseline for me. It's very important for me. But I also think like from, how's it called? Geopolitical, whatever kind of thing. I'm not watching news, but I'm watching money. And when it comes to money, I'm so happy that Georgia is one of the places where there's a flow of cash from different countries, and there are some new projects now from Saudi, from Emirati, and there are a lot of Chinese investing here. Of course there's Turkish in development. There are money of course from the EU and from the US and from Russia, from Ukraine, from Belarus, but from Central Asia as well. So it's very diversified, and that's what I really like, because I know that this means safety for me actually, because I know that I'm not actually dependent on one, or the country is not dependent on one actor or one source of power, say, or one sort of union. And on top, Georgia is actually a neutral country. No matter, I just don't read the foreign propaganda or the first plan kind of narrative in the news. I studied media and propaganda as my bachelor, so I look at it with a bit critical perspective. But if you look truly what they are doing, it's very neutral. So this is very okay for me. I know that in my life 100% I will be moving. I know that I will, because in order to have a comfortable life, that's sort of the price you pay, but it's okay with me. So I know that the country's conditions are changing. Maybe Hong Kong, Singapore were amazing, but in 2010, maybe even today, it may be fine for some people. However, you cannot really compare it. Dubai is still pretty much developing. Georgia is still developing. But what will be in 10 years, 20 years? I don't know. And I know that I cannot know. And I will not act as a god. I will not pretend I am one. I'm not making any predictions. So I have to act on the current situation and on some facts. And yeah, it's a quite nice place for now. I'm sure that for the next couple of years it will be fine for me as a foreigner as well. And that's why I'm choosing Georgia, and because it works for me. Please, if you are considering where to live, go and find based on what you like, because it's so conditional. That's it for me from me today. I hope you liked my story, and please let me know in the comments if you have some other questions. Take care.